right, Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Wahar, Rakah, Kodash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. Also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in His work. And as always, I want to say shalom to you believers, the Akim, as well as the Akwath, which would be you brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, I just wanted to go into another quick lesson, which is going to be pretty much continuing in the spirit and theme of prophecy, which this lesson is going to be centered around the past, which that sounds like a oxymoron, being that this lesson is concerning prophecy, yet is based upon the past and pretty much taking a glimpse into the history of the so-called white man, and his ill dealings and treachery towards the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which are indeed the true biblical Israelites. Well, guess what? That's prophecy, man. Okay, we're in a time of revealing the so-called white man. Pretty much what you're witnessing is court. Right now, court is in session, and the so-called white man is under the scrutiny, if you will, of the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. And like any session, a court session, before a verdict is brought forth and a penalty is handed down, you have to produce evidence, you see, to justify the verdict you come up with, you see, and the penalty that's going to be issued out, all right? And the evidence is overwhelming, man. When you consider, even in Esau's court, let's just say a person get busted on drugs. Well, if they have audio or visual, they can hit you with a distribution case, and that's going to stick. Why? Because they got you on audio, they got you recorded, and they also have video, man. You see? Well, guess what? That's the same with Esau. And usually what happens in court, you have a star witness, someone that aided you in the crime. Well, Esau is his biggest enemy, man. That's why the scriptures say the Lord is going to cause this man's tongue to fall upon himself, meaning he's going to snitch on himself. Esau is the star witness, man. If you have someone in a drug ring or whatever enterprise, crime enterprise, like, for an example, this guy, John Gotti, he was known as the Teflon Don, but he was betrayed by his right-hand man, his underboss, this guy, Sammy Gravato, Sammy the Bull. So someone out of his own organization pretty much gave the death blow, all right, that damning testimony that caused him to be apprehended, locked up, and before all that happened, he was found guilty, and it was undoubtable evidence produced against him. Why? Because it was a chink in his armor. Someone from the inside betrayed him. So that's what you see with Esau. Esau has put out the information condemning himself, man. We able to go into the history books, and that's why these devils is trying to get rid of slavery, take slavery out of the history books. This man have documentaries, there's pictures. Hey, if you're doing the wrong thing, let's just say if you, kill someone with a gun, a certain gun, and you take a picture with the gun, or you got these guys who on Facebook who get jammed up, they take pictures with money and drugs and guns. Well, that's what Esau did, man. Esau have photographs of them lynching Israel. So that's evidence against them. See, again, this is a spiritual court, man. Court is in session, all right? Now, this lesson right here is going to be based upon some disturbing information I came across through the spirit. And I was sharing this with the brothers yesterday at camp, and I briefly mentioned it in one of my latest videos, and it's based and centered around this photograph right here. Okay, this is a photograph of a lynching, you know. And you see, this is not some ancient picture, you know, where they was riding damn horses, you know, in carriages. No, man. You see umbrellas. If you look at the gear, they got on suits. And you see thousands of damn Edomites witnessing the hanging of a so-called black man. They did this for sport, man. And this proved that the so-called white man is your enemy. You got Jakes that come up against us in the idea of the so-called white man being your enemy. You know, due to something as subtle as you have a so-called white person as your friend at your job or your neighbor. And it just show you how gone Jake are, man. Okay, the Lord has been merciful by identifying and targeting your enemies as if we have to go into any in-depth breakdown. Hey, all you have to do is watch one of these period pieces, man. Go into history. Even to this very day, turn on the news and you see these damn devils, so-called white cops shooting down so-called black, unarmed so-called black men. You know? And a lot of these cops, they join the force so they could vicariously live out that fantasy of killing you Jakes. See, this is a deep-rooted hatred that the so-called white man have for you, so much so to where it can't be explained rationally. This is spiritual, man, the hatred that the so-called white man have for you. We're going to show you that, you know, in this lesson, okay, which again is in the spirit of prophecy, yet we are revealing things from the past that has been secret. You know, a lot of you Jakes, you didn't have access to this information. But now the Lord is bringing everything to the light. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and start off in the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, in the 47th verse. It says, the king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldest reveal this secret. Yes, so the Lord is a revealer of secrets. That's why this knowledge is compared to a light. Because again, the light exposes the things that's in the dark, man. Okay, matter of fact, let me get one more quick precept before we go into this information. And this precept been coming out a lot lately, you know, through the Spirit. You know, the Spirit been on me to bring this out a lot. Because this the time that we in, the book of Luke, the 8th chapter, and the 17th verse. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Yes, so there's nothing secret that shall not be made manifest. And that's what happens in court. When court is in session, you know, those lawyers get to bringing out all type of evidence. You know, this is Exhibit A. You know, and the suspect looking like, God damn, where you get that from? See, that's where we at in the process, man. Esau is being revealed for the devil that he is, man. And there's a penalty for putting your hand on the children of Israel. The scriptures tell you that he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of my eye. Okay, so that's a capital offense. And we're going to go into that, all right, which is going to be centered around this information I want to pull up real quick, entitled The Legacy of Lynching. Okay? Let me see. The Legacy of Lynching. And we're not going to read it all. It's just the initial information right here, just to give you an idea, okay, of the hatred, you know, the ill dealings, man, the treachery that the so-called white man committed against the children of Israel. And this information proves that these two parties, these two nations of people, are the Israelites versus the Edomites. This is that story of Jacob and Esau, those natural-born enemies. Literally, they're natural-born enemies because they struggled in the womb to this very day. And there's nothing you could do to bridge that gap. You know, there's nothing you could do to rehabilitate the wickedness of Esau and his hatred towards you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And guess what? In the kingdom, the Lord going to put a heavy spirit on us to recompense these devils. All right? So, it's going to be justified, especially when you hear this information. So let's go ahead and go into it. It says, after he was stripped and castrated, Claude Neal was forced to eat his own penis and testicles. Hey, right there, you should, I mean, this shows you that this man is the devil, man. Who would do such a thing? And this proves that this man is your enemy. See? That's why when you read Ecclesiasticus, the 13th chapter, the Lord said, what fellowship does the wolf and the lamb have with one another, man? See? You're not going to see a deer coexisting with a lion. When a deer see a lion, he's going to get the hell out of there, man. All right? And it's no different than with the children of Israel versus Esau. But see, the Lord put a deep shroud of darkness. The Lord put a veil over you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which that veil is beginning to be lifted. You're starting to see that this man don't give a damn about you. And the Lord set up the prophets to further that idea. Okay, because we just bringing out the truth here, man. You know? It says, and he was stripped and castrated, Salakia, after he was stripped and castrated, okay, which the image that I showed you is attached to this information right here. Those thousands of people who was watching this man be stripped and castrated, okay. Neil was forced to eat his own penis and testicles. You know, it shows you that this man is the devil, all right? Any of you out there that have a problem when we say that the so-called white man is the devil, well, this should be proof, as if we need to produce any more proof. It says, as the angry mob of white women, see, and you damn white women, you're not going to ride off into the sunset, man. You're going to catch major hell, man. Because you instigated a lot of these incidents, man. When you go into, for an example, Emmett Till, the young lad, he was brutally put to death, man. Which the woman who was responsible for that, who instigated that whole ordeal, she came out maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and said that she was lying, man. See? Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to be justified in all the hell that he's going to put on you so-called white people. That's why the scripture said you're going to receive double, man. You know? And when you first come into this truth, you really don't, understand the extent of the hatred that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua have for Esau. But once you become settled, in the truth, and more information is exposed to you, then you see why the Lord is going to put hell on you goddamn devils, man. And ultimately, he's going to exterminate you, It says, as the angry mob of white women, men, and children, that's why the scripture said we're going to dash your little ones against the stones. See, everything makes sense when you're exposed to all the things that this devil has done to you, man. All right? It says, white women, men, and children applauded. See, they applauded these devils. This shows you that these devils is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. They don't walk the same walk as Israel. These are two contrasts, two people contrary to one another. Israel is a positive spirit, if you will, versus Esau, which is negative, man. It's light and darkness, man. Esau was created to be the wicked. Esau is the wicked that the Bible speaks of, pursuant to the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, the 4th verse. All right, Proverbs, the 16th chapter, around the 4th verse. This man is the wicked. You have to be wicked. Hey, if you're in your right mind, you can't even watch somebody get castrated, man. Let alone you applaud when they being castrated. This is the hatred, that deep-rooted hatred that the so-called white man has for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. It's knitted in them, man. It's a part of their DNA. All right? Again, so let's read this again. It says, as the angry mob of white women, men, and children applauded, he was then forced to exclaim that he liked them. See? He was forced to exclaim that he liked them, meaning what? He was forced to tell the crowd, I like the taste of my own penis and my own testicles. You see the sick, twisted mentality of Esau? Huh? But guess what? This was all recorded in the scriptures, man. Okay? That's enough of that, man. This is the book of Psalms. This is Psalms, the 7th chapter. In the 6th verse, it says, "Arise, O Lord, in thine anger." Yeah, and this is King David, you know, which pretty much when you read the Psalms, it's dedicated to King David desiring vengeance on his enemies. Not once you hear King David speak about some guy in a red spandex suit with horns on his head and a pitchfork in his hand, waiting to possess your spirit and torment your spirit forever and never, man. No, King David is crying out against his enemies. This is the reality of the Bible. Okay, you so-called Christians, you fear some damn guy in the underworld, you know, a figment of your imagination. Meanwhile, the enemy is right up in your face, up close and personal, man. And the evidence is out there. So this is King David making a plea to Yahweh Bashim Havashah. That's why the Lord put the spirit on King David, you know, to take down the enemies. He had that warrior type spirit. And he knew exactly who his enemies were, man. And this is dealing with the so-called white man, okay? It says, "Arise, O Lord, in thine anger, lift up thyself because of the rage of mine enemies." Yeah, and what we just read was rage. This proves right here that the so-called white man is the devil, the information we brought out, but it also proves the bigger picture of we being the Israelites. Why? Because this is rage shown towards us as a people when you go into the history of this devil, man. See? It says, "Lift up thyself because of the rage of mine enemies, and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded." Yeah, and this judgment is going to be ultimately when Esau is found guilty, which really Esau is already guilty. The evidence is overwhelming. Remember, court is in session. And who is the judge? Yahweh Bashim Havashah. All right? Now, real quick, I got the definition of this word for rage in that precept queued up. And it says outpouring, overflow, excess. See? Excess. Now, what does it mean to do anything in excess? Well, you know what? I got the definition of this word excess. I thought I had it pulled up. Well, anyway, when you go into the word excess, which, you know what? Let me see. I'm going to try to go back and get it. All right, yeah, excess definition right here. I was just looking at it. It says an amount of something that is more than necessary. Yeah, you already stripped the man. I'm pretty sure you beat the man, you know. Hey, just put him to death and be through with it, man. But what these devils do, they had to cut off his testicles. That wasn't enough. You cut off his testicles and his penis, that wasn't enough. You had to degrade the man. You had to make him tell the crowd that he liked it. See, that's what King David was speaking about when he said, "the rage of my enemies." You know, the definition of that word rage is excess. And we reading what excess means. See, an amount of something that is more than necessary, permitted, or desirable. Yeah, that's not desirable, man. That's going overboard. And guess what? Yahweh Bashim Havashah spoke about that, man. This is Zechariah. What's that? Zechariah, the 1st chapter. And, okay, the 15th verse. It says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease." Who is this talking about? This talking about Esau. Because we know that all the other nations are heathens, but there's heathens that are at ease. And that would be talking about you so-called white people. The Lord is sore displeased with you. See? It says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased." Okay, the Lord was just a little displeased with Israel. It says, "And they helped forward the affliction." See? And they helped forward the affliction. Meaning what? They took it overboard. They went overboard. That's what you devils are responsible for, man. And this information that I'm sharing with you brothers and sisters is an example of that. And it proves the power of the scriptures. I mean, you have to be totally blind or borderline retarded to not see that this information that we're going into can be filtered through the scriptures. And pretty much the the current state and condition of Jake, you know, and the dynamic between the so-called white man and you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans is biblical. You have to be retarded to not see that, man. You know, but hey, it is what it is. The Lord has blinded Jake. See? But again, we coming into a time where it's going to be, you know, no more up for debate. You know, you're not going to be able to argue, and it's going to be no longer ignored that we got the truth, man. All right? And again, that element can be applied to court. You know, you got somebody all the way to the right, like you think of some of these court cases, man, these infamous court cases in U.S. history, like this guy, Jeffrey Dahmer, way back in the days, who he killed all those homos. Well, the body parts was left in his freezer, man. Hey, that was overwhelming evidence. It was nothing he could do to fight that case, man. So guess what? That's what Esau at in the process, man. The evidence is overwhelming, man, and you are found guilty on all charges, all right? This is Psalms, the 25th chapter, and the 19th verse. It says, "Consider mine enemies, for they are many, and they that hate me with cruel hatred." See, it's a difference with hating someone, but hating someone with cruel hatred is what distinguishes Esau. You know, that dynamic between Esau and Jacob, man, and all the other nations. Yeah, the other nations, they gonna pay too. But you notice, and the Apostle Tahar brought this out, you notice that we rarely even speak about the other nations unless we're going into a certain in-depth topic that's dealing with one of the other nations, you know. But that anger is showed toward Esau, man. The spotlight is on Esau. Okay? Why? Let's read it again. "Consider mine enemies," see? "For they are many, and they hate," Slakia, "and they hate me with cruel hatred." See, they hate me with cruel hatred. And that's the so-called white man. And again, the information that we just went into is a form of cruel hatred. Yeah, you can hate someone, you can put them to death, but when you castrate them and you make them eat their penis and their testicles in front of an angry mob, and you force them to say that they like it, they not mentioning the pain that the man had to endure, man, just having his testicles and his penis cut off, man. You know, they probably slapped him over the head. He probably was writhing in pain, and they made him tell the crowd that he liked it. Probably told him, "Speak up, boy. Hey, look, man, you devils, you got a lot to pay for, man." Matter of fact, let me see. Hey, that's why we get on Jake, who have a problem with this, man. You know? You should be in a certain spirit. Let me see, I think that's, yep. 2 Thessalonians, the 1st chapter, and the 6th verse, it says, "Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High," okay, "to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you." Yeah, so this is a righteous thing in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, to pay these devils back, man, to recompense trouble on these devils for things that they done to us. That's what you call justice. See? Matter of fact, let me get that. Because the Lord is the power of justice. That's why he's known as just. All right? Proverbs 11:1. "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord." Yeah. So if Esau just continued to put hell on us and to continue to rule, that'll be unbalanced right there, man. You know? Which, by the way, when you go by the numbers, these devils been putting hell on us, what, like 500 years? Well, the Lord said that they're going to receive double. That's why the scriptures say after 1,000 years of slavery, they're going to be put away. So we're going to double the time that they had hell on us, all right? And that's going to equal everything out right there. See, that's balance. See? A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. See? But a just weight is his delight. So the Lord is about justice, man. The Lord delight in that, and we just read it. It is a righteous thing for the Lord to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And there's plenty of stories of these devils troubling us, man. The inhumane actions toward the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. Well, guess what? We coming into the time where Yahweh Shai is poised to spring into action, concerning the recompense of our enemies, starting with the so-called white man. Yeah, so I just want to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.